Good morning and hello ladies and gentlemen. So what's been happening in the news this week? Well, we've got quite a few bites of information for you this time. First off, what would you know? Again, not even day after or something like that. After I finally uploaded a news segment, something big happened. Of course, the PS5 released. Well, not released, got revealed. New design. We'll be talking about that in a bit. That's kind of annoying, but oh well. In other news, the B550 motherboards, which is the reason why I have my outside Sonic board there, because I don't have a B550 one. Anyway, they finally released, so we'll be talking about them in a bit. Of course, AMD is going to be releasing their, up-and-coming XT CPUs in the coming month. And talking about that later too. And of course, something that sort of caught me off guard, and I want to say the good and I want to say the bad on. EA is finally back on Steam. All that and more after the intro. Timestamps will be in the description down below. Alright, so, now, if you have, of course, been keeping up with things, you probably saw the PS5 Reveal event last week. Now, I've got a couple of mixed feelings on it, because it looks kind of, I don't know. Anyway, here's how it looks. This is the brand new PS5. As you can see, they're doing a digital version, as well as a version with a disc drive, presumably. So, of course, they have a more accessible one, and the one they probably want to sell to people because they make more money out of digital downloads. On top of that, you can also see there's a couple of new accessories, such as a media remote, a dual HD camera. That's all I can really say about it. The new, I think it's called 3D sound or something headset, looks kind of swish, as well as, of course, their new DualShock controllers. But let's just talk about this. Like, it's interesting and all, but come on. Like, on the one hand, it looks like a Wi-Fi router. I mean, that's not necessarily the worst thing it could look like. But on the other hand, look at the freaking size of it. Like, that compared to other consoles like the Xbox One Series, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox One, even the original Xbox, as in the original VHS tape player looking Xbox, the OG boy. That thing's about 30% bigger. That thing's huge. And apparently you can lay it down, but tell me I'm not the only one who doesn't see a way that that's laying down comfortably without it probably sitting on a friction mount. And I'm not sure about you, I don't really trust what's probably going to be anywhere between $500 and $800 console to be sitting on a friction mount, especially if it's got a disc tray. I don't really trust it not, vibrating to absolute hell. And of course, you don't have to deal with a hard drive anymore, but it's an interesting thing. Anyway, with the rest of the PS5 Reveal event, really all it was one huge game commercial. It's something like anywhere, I think like 50 or so, maybe less, maybe more. I am not sure. Videos that were trailers, if you will, that got released. Let's see. How many people have? Okay, like 25 or something. With a couple of noticeable choices. It's not really a good sign, though, with what they opened with, because, of course, it's the intro. We're finally back in time with PS5, and the first game they released, oh yeah, GTA 5 being released again. Not like it's a 7-year-old game or anything. Really bodes well for what your console's going to be doing, of course, doesn't it? You brought out this brand new, swish new console, and you're releasing a game that is literally 2 generations old at this point. Like, released before the previous generation. Sure, they're claiming it's enhanced and other things, but I've got some strong opinions on GTA 5. Not because it's a bad game, no, because of online. But on a positive note, one thing that I am excited for is that we are finally getting another Ratchet & Clank game. Yes, But I grew up on Ratchet & Clank. Give me a break. Why do you think there's so much Ratchet & Clank on the channel? Seriously, I love them. But yeah, anyway, Ratchet & Clank is going to be releasing a new one called Rift Apart, which is looking pretty interesting. Well, introducing a female Lombax, which kind of feel sorry for, because the internet is a cruel place. But anyway, enough of talking about PS5, what else has happened? AMD, finally, it's the 17th today, they released the brand new B550 budget motherboards yesterday. And when I say budget, I more mean budget in the same way that technically producing at Hollywood is producing on a budget. It's just a far larger budget than what people would really consider to be a budget production. Anyway, what's so special about it? Well, you have got new features which of course vastly improve on the B450 boards, including actually having PCI 4th gen support, on a budget board. Other huge features increase, including lots of higher speed I/O, which of course I'm sure many people will be happy with. And on top of that, well, it's kind of interesting. I've got the X570 Taichi now. It's a board that I love, and I picked it for numerous reasons, including Thunderbolt 3, because I need that. Here's the thing though, whilst the B550 Taichi exists and is going to be basically about as expensive as the X570 Taichi, I think it'll be like £10–20 over here less, it's debatably better in other departments, like the actual I/O that you get on the base model, well, literally just the motherboard itself with no extras, is actually kind of better than the Taichi. For one, you get more, I'm not sure if it's more USB ports or different USB ports, either way you have more Type A USB ports, which is actually pretty nice. On top of that, well, actually, don't hold me to that because I might be wrong. On top of that, you actually get 2.5 gig LAN, which is kind of interesting because this only comes with gigabit LAN, whereas this one, of course, comes with 2.5 gig LAN. Other nice features include the fact that it's got an even beefier VRM than that. The X570 Taichi is a 12+2 or a 14-phase power delivery system, whereas the B550 Taichi has got a 14+2 or 16 phases. So it's like, okay, why is this beefier and technically in some ways better than what is supposed to be the high-end counterpart? Because the only difference between this and the other Taichi is that this has Thunderbolt 3 support, the other one doesn't. Even though the fact you can even see on the board, in fact, I'm pretty sure it is the exact same board, because if you look, you can see literally the slot for the header, and of course the points for it to be added onto. Not to mention, I bet if you look underneath the I/O shield, you'll also probably see the spot where the Thunderbolt 3 controller would actually be sat. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, so B550, very high end. As a result, a lot of them are launching at a very high price. They are supposed to be budget boards, but hopefully the price will come down as we roll on into the coming months, as generally speaking, things generally launch a lot more expensive than they might be 5–6 months down the line. But yeah, it's looking interesting. I will likely pick one up because I do actually want a B550 test bench. And yeah, I will let you know once I get my hands on a new motherboard. Last major topic for today, Ryzen XT CPUs were announced yesterday, of course, following the B550 release. And just like we all suspected, we have got 3, yes count them, 3 new models, including a 3900 XT, a 3800 XT, a 3600 XT, all which will be releasing on the 7th of next month. And for those of you that will be watching in the future, that will be the 7th of July 2020. Hopefully they could be kind of interesting, but so far they're sort of looking like AMD's own 9900KS, but with models that go all the way down the range. As I'm sure you do remember, of course, 9900KS was basically a 9900K overclocked to hell out the box. What I'm assuming with these, and a lot of people are also sort of figuring on this, is that they are AMD's doing 2 things. 1, they're shifting all their current stock, and 2, well, here's the thing, it's that late in the cycle of these that they could have been binning these for months, absolute months, to make sure they've got enough of a supply to actually make a full release. Which means that it's more than likely that what we're probably seeing is something like a 3900 XT, but with really binned silicon, so it's got the highest speeds required, well, to be an XT rather than a 3900X. Same thing with the 3800 XT and the 3600 XT, is they're likely just really well binned silicon which allow them to reach these new higher speeds. Like, in theory, you could have gotten one of these at launch, but it's more than likely that now the silicon you get will be the quality of silicon expected for that processor versus the quality of silicon that will be in these, which of course have these higher clocks. But likely, we won't really ever know. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting. It's looking like AMD is doing yet another middle finger to Intel, and they'll be releasing on the 7th of next month, so stay tuned for that, see how they go, and see when the reviews come out. In fact, it's actually kind of interesting because I'm actually doing a review on the 3900X not 3 days later, so okay, we'll see that then. And the final topic for today, EA has finally, after all this time, returned to Steam. Now, for those of you that aren't too aware, to buy a game that is originally for EA on Steam, generally speaking, your choices are around about 10 years or older due to the fact that EA sort of came up with Origin, which nobody likes because it's Origin. But it does have, you know, some benefits. For one, you'll be able to finally buy Battlefield 5, Battlefield 4, all those kind of games on Steam, especially a person like me. I prefer to have my games on one platform, so I do enjoy the fact that Epic release free games every week now. I still hate them for the fact that I just want all my games on a single platform. I don't want to have to be launching on a million different things, like, you know, with Origin specifically. Nobody wants to go ahead and pay money to EA, because we all have strong opinions on EA, let's be fair here. But anyway, so that means new games for tons of Steam players. Well, not really new games, more games for Steam players. People that actually want to play it on Steam. Although there are a couple of little niggly bits, and I do mean really annoying niggly bits. For example, if you're a person like me who's a huge Mass Effect fan, and this is a bit of a public service announcement, one, it will need Origin to run. Yes, despite the fact that you bought it on Steam, and despite the fact that you're running it off Steam, you still need Origin to launch the game. Look, it annoys me, it'll probably annoy a lot of you, but you still need Origin to play it, and Origin is an absolute terrible thing to use. I don't know why, it's just so kludgy, and it's caused issues in other launchers somehow sometimes. But yeah. So you will need Origin for certain games, and on top of that, if you are a Mass Effect fan, I don't really recommend buying Mass Effect 3, because, for me at least, it was completely and utterly broken. As in, both on this system, as well as my main system, would not launch. The only thing I got was a white screen, crashes, and put it this way, I spent the best part of all of yesterday trying to get that to play, so, you know, I bought it, think, okay, I've got a couple of hours to do something before I get to work. Yeah, I never got to work because I spent around about 8 or 10 hours trying to troubleshoot it on both systems, on the off chance that there's an incompatibility error with one of the, you know, with the hardware that's in them. But no, just wouldn't launch. So it might be AMD Ryzen doesn't play nice with it, or it just might be that it's broken. Then again, it's more than likely that it's broken because it's something like an, 8-year-old game now, which just hasn't seen any love from EA, considering it launched on Windows 7, but now in Windows 10, and yeah, so public service announcement, just be careful if you are buying that game specifically, and be careful in general if you are buying any of the new EA games. Make sure you check the reviews first, make sure there's no, like, on-start errors that have been reported in, like, the last week or so, and if everything runs well, buy it. If not, save your money, because you'll be screaming and shouting for hours. But anyway, enough of that. Alright, so like the video if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. Any thoughts or questions, leave the form of comment down below. Don't forget to check out my Facebook, Patreon and Twitch page, all of which can be found in the description down just below me here. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button, that notification bell for more content from me. And as always, this is the 117th Con, signing off. Have a brilliant day, folks. I'll catch you all, well, tomorrow. Anyway, see you then, folks. And stay safe out there.